In 2024, most of the world's population will be voting in what will be a massive test for global democracy. This will be the biggest electoral exercise in the history of mankind, and the implication for you, I, and the rest of the world's population is massive. The outcome of elections this year will shape the kind of world we all live in for the next few years, and will set the tone for the kind of society we become in the longer term. But given the majority of the world's population now has a smartphone, how will tech influence the elections? And are we heading towards fairer elections, or is the very fabric of the democratic process at risk? I've studied the major democracies of the world and have personal experience of one of the oldest democracies as well as one of the largest. And I've also looked closely at how technology influences psychology and the human behavior to understand the impact that tech can have on elections in 2024, to give you the information you need to know ahead of casting your own votes this year. Also, stick around until the end to see how one politician used AI to give a message to his voters despite being behind bars on bogus charges. Countries including the US, the UK, and Russia will be voting in 2024 in a rare year for elections worldwide. Other countries such as Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Taiwan have already decided, and there will also be elections in the European Parliament. 2024 is the year that 8 of the world's 10 most populous nations will vote, or have voted, including Bangladesh, Brazil, India, the United States, Indonesia, Pakistan, Russia, and Mexico. So there is a lot at stake for everyone, including those nations who are not voting this year, as the elected leaders of other nations are sure to have an impact on the rest of the world. That means defense, global aid, economic policy, trade, immigration, energy, climate policy, education, and healthcare will all be impacted. And those decisions can reverberate globally around the world. So how can tech impact elections? Elections have always been influenced, or tried to be influenced, for as far as democracy has existed. First, the media of influence was the village square. Then it was the newspaper. Then the radio, the television, social media, and now it's a time of artificial intelligence. And some of this is necessary for elections. After all, politicians and different parties want to get their message out and set their stall for what they believe in and what they think they can deliver. More recently, however, the impact of tech has been profound, more impactful, more divisive. And this has raised questions around the leverage tech has in shaping the kind of world we become. For example, in 2008, Barack Obama's campaign's proclivity towards online advocacy was considered a major reason for his victory. At that time, through Facebook, Obama was successful in creating a sense of ethos between the voters and his campaign. And this created a sense of trust, support, and effective campaigning that ultimately led to his beating Republican rival, John McCain, despite Obama being a relative unknown and newcomer to politics against the establishment representative, McCain. The ability of social media back then to get targeted messaging out to people so they hear what they want to hear at the right time was massively powerful, and it's something other leaders have since spent hundreds of millions of dollars on to support their power ambitions. That messaging has been positive, but also negative, casting doubt and accusation on a rival to undermine the competition's campaign. But in 2024, all attention will be on the impact that AI will have on elections. And we are already seeing signs of how this is being used by politicians worldwide. The biggest concern from AI in the 2024 elections comes from deepfakes, a video or audio of a person in which their face, body, or voice has been digitally altered. And this then quickly gets propagated across social media. And we've already seen signs of this so far. In the world's third largest democracy, Indonesia, there have been a spate of AI efforts used to influence the election. And although many are easy to debunk, they still have an impact with the voter. For example, there have been AI-altered videos of candidates speaking Arabic, which in a Muslim-majority country reflects well with the population and creates additional positive awareness. In Slovakia's elections from last year, a pro-Russian candidate was pitted against someone who advocated for maintaining stronger ties with the EU. As the election approached and a national media blackout began, an audio recording of the pro-EU candidate, Michal Simeka, was posted to Facebook. In the recording, Simeka appeared to discuss plans of how to win the election by buying votes. The audio was fake, and the news agency AFP said it showed signs of being manipulated using AI. However, due to election blackout laws, the media and politicians were expected to stay silent, making debunking the media almost impossible. In the end, the pro-Russian candidate, Robert Fico, went on to win the election and became prime minister. But perhaps the most interesting use of AI, not necessarily for a negative, but for a positive, has been in the run-up to elections in Pakistan this year. Populist Tehreek-e-Insaf ex-prime minister and cricketing hero to many of my generation, Imran Khan, had been imprisoned after his first term in office, based on what many, including the international media, believed to be bogus charges. Fearing his popularity turning the tide in the 2024 elections, Khan's opponents charged him with dozens of false cases, making it impossible for him to communicate and rally his party members and the public at large. So Khan and his party used AI to develop a likeness of him to broadcast his message of unity and urged the population to exercise their right to vote peacefully and stand for their rights more broadly. Impactful and reassuring from a leader that people can actually get behind in a nation trying to find a way forward. Ultimately, the responsibility is on all of us to identify what information we consume ahead of deciding who will determine our lives for the next few years. Rather than focusing on personality, if the electorate focuses on the policy of the different political parties, it is a better starting point. This enables people to understand what candidates and parties stand for, typically available from official political party websites. As the world's largest and most diverse nation, India, gears up for elections in a few weeks' time, we will further see the mass use of tech and AI in elections, although the incumbent, Modi, is largely expected to win for a third term. Divisiveness and scaremongering have been a constant in elections for as long as elections have been held. But giving in to that whim doesn't help anyone. Power is in everyone's hands to use the technology that others use to manipulate elections to be the source of truth so that we can define a better future for all of us. And as AI becomes more dominant in our lives, it's important to understand what guardrails we can put in place to ensure we stay in control. Check out the video on the screen for how I think AI can be regulated on an international stage. Thanks for watching.